Hey everybody, welcome to another Shine the Light. My name is Elvis Collins, and today we're lucky enough to have Kerri Lynch-Delaney on. She'll be joining us in a few seconds. Hope everybody's had a good week and happy Friday. Looking forward to the weekend. Looks like I'll just wait a couple seconds to see who's popping on. Hope everybody's well. All right, 16C is in the house. So I have invited Kerri. Piece of cake. Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, awesome.
How are you?
I'm great. Good to see you. Thank you so much for doing this. You're awesome.
Oh, no problem. Well, thanks, Sam. You know I can't figure this stuff out, so we figured it out. We're good.
Well, Sam, I can't see you. Let me see Sam for a second. Sam, you're awesome. Good work.
The computer guru.
Way to make it happen. So, today we're just going to celebrate you, Kerri.
Oh, good times. Good times.
You know, so I feel really fortunate to have you kind of developed a nice little relationship with you.
I know. Thank you. Thank you for everything. You've been great to me. You all have.
Well, you're a super nice person, and it's no wonder why you're having success over there.
Thank you. Thanks.
It's
definitely not my computer skills, but thank you.
Well, it is interesting. This stuff has only started, a little while ago, and it is a little weird to adapt to it. But I don't know. I actually kind of like these. Like you were saying that you were a little nervous about doing this type of interview or something, but I find them they're pretty chill. Like we just talk and we learn about each other, and it's nice.
Well, I think you make it pretty chill. I wouldn't say all interviews are pretty chill, but I'll be fine with you. I'll be okay.
I know you will, because you're awesome. So why don't you just start by just talking a little bit about your journey, who you are, where you're at, your restaurant now.
All right. Well, I'm 42, and I opened 16C when I was 38. But before that, I had a bakery for 10 years. And but honestly, my whole life I've been a waitress. I love waitressing. That's kind of my thing. But out of high school, when I was in high school, I worked at a bakery, and that's where I fell in love with baking. And then I went to culinary school. And I realized with culinary school, in my head, I thought culinary school was more like you just go learn how to cook. Turns out there was a lot more to it, and I had a horrible time trying it with the studying. I'm just not a great student, never have been.
Where'd you go?
Cambridge School of Culinary Arts.
Oh,
so
cool.
that was in 97. I graduated North Quincy High in 96. I went to Cambridge Culinary in 97, and at the time, I was the youngest student they had ever had there. Which was funny. My brother actually went there too a couple of years before me, but I was the youngest one they ever had. And great people. It's an awesome school. A lot of it has changed now, but I had no studying. I still don't. I can't study to save my life. But I had the best teacher there. So I was struggling. I couldn't pass a test. I would stay after every day. Literally, if they asked me to lick the floor clean, I would, because I needed all the extra credit I could possibly get. If I went into the kitchen, I was fine. But as far as book smarts, it's not really my thing. And I couldn't keep anything in my head. So I'd stay after every day and cry. But once the test came, I couldn't do it. I'd be walking out the door and my mom would be saying novenas that I would at least pass the midterms and all that kind of stuff. But one teacher, Susan Lagosa, who is probably one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. She was a public school teacher. She taught high school. So she actually learned how badly I was struggling, and she would meet me every Friday for 2 months straight. She met me at the South Boston Public Library with flashcards so that I would pass the final. And I ended up getting a B on the final, which was insane because you would never actually think that was ever going to happen for me. But it did, because I needed to learn that way. I was doing okay on the baking end and the cooking end of it, but I really needed help with the studying and all that stuff. So she pretty much saved me. And then from that point, I went and worked in all different places as far as being an assistant pastry chef and doing all that stuff. But I always waitressed, and I loved waitressing. So I think that's kind of how I ended up doing this. The bakery was great because I would be in the back of the house baking all the time. And
where was the bakery located?
Walton, so right up the street, Beale Street, 163 Beale Street. It's still there. It's called Baby Cakes. So
Okay.
when I sold it to one girl, Elise, great girl, awesome family. It didn't pan out for her. She had a lot of stuff going on. So now the girl who has Baby Cakes is Mariah, who actually worked for me there for 7 years, and she's doing awesome. So it's
That's
still
awesome.
yeah, but it's also a lot of fun too, because when I was baking, I also was interacting with people. So like it was 600 square feet. It was tiny. So anyone who walked in the door, I kind of got to know all of them. Oh, and Sam, computer guru, also worked at Baby Cakes. That's how her and I got friendly. So it was a fun place. Yeah, it was a fun place. But then, 10 years of it, I kind of needed to make a change, and all I really knew was restaurants. So here I am, 4 years into 16C.
You're 4 years into it, and for me, looking at what you do, and I know I've only been in there, maybe 7 times, something like that, a few times, but enough to understand your menu and to understand how you operate. And I think you have a great menu. The food's great. I mean, I had the kids there the other day, and I'd say I was shocked at, and I didn't want to love them, but I loved them. The pretzel things.
Oh yeah. Listen, I can't. I can take some credit for things, but not. But like, I have the most amazing kitchen staff. Like I do all the baking and stuff, and I came up with the pizza dough. But other than that, like it's been 4 years. We've gone through different kitchen people, but the crew that I have now have been here for years. My head chef Matt, he is. He's my rock, basically. I depend on him for everything. So, like, he deserves all the credit in the world for the food and all that stuff. And the guys that work back there, they're just one big happy family. I'm very lucky to have them, because restaurants have been my whole life. And when you can get a kitchen that is in such a good groove as they are, I'm blessed. Like, I know that. I do not take it for granted. I love them. They're good kids. So they deserve all the credit for that stuff. But I'll take the dessert aspect.
Well, I would say that, it wouldn't be great if you weren't great. It does take somebody. This is your beast, and you've created it. And to me, like, I go in there, and I kind of feel like it would be one of my haunts, because, like, I live in Hanover, but I just feel like everybody's super nice.
Oh, everyone's awesome. Almost everyone that's here has been here since I opened. I really don't. Besides the kitchen, like I said, the kitchen, that's kind of turned up. But as far as the front of the house, and now the kitchen's been here, I'd say most of them have been here for at least 2 years, but if not longer. But as far as the front of the house, almost everyone that's here has been here since the day we opened.
Well, that's a testament to you. Like, I see you come in, you've been nothing but responsive to me, and like very easy to work with. And
I think you're easy to work with yourself. Look at you, sucked me into doing this, and I usually would never do this.
Well, not about me, but I do think, one thing, a recurring thing that I'm learning about you is that you're humble. And that's a very, very good, in my book, it's a beautiful thing. You're putting out a cool product, and you have a nice team, and that's not, maybe it's because you have this nice kindness about you.
No, the reality of this is, yes, like, I'm very lucky for all of this. I'm so lucky to have the people that surround me, literally. Between the people that work here, my husband, everyone, my parents. I'm so lucky. Like, it is what it is. It's a restaurant. It's a hard work, but I wouldn't have anything if it wasn't for the people that are around me. So I'm very grateful for them.
Yeah, well, grateful is a good thing to have in these crazy times.
Oh yeah. So had you told me 5 years ago COVID was going to happen, I'm really not sure if I would have done this. But it is what it is.
Oh, it's a super ambiguous, divisive, weird, hard time. But making the lemonade out of the lemons. I think the street series that you have, just having the seating outside and the light.
Oh my gosh, everyone has been awesome that you've sent our way. Tonight, Sister D, which I need to find out more about her and what she needs, but I'm hoping I'm going to have Sam put on a thing, because I don't do the Facebook and all that stuff, to make sure people know to bring a blanket, because we have the heaters, but they only can do so much. So as long as people dress warm, they should be okay.
Yeah. Well, the music's been cool, but I think that part of it is like, it's the whole vibe that is there. It's a beautiful thing that during these COVID times, this is one of the highlights for me, is that outdoor spaces are being activated. So it's almost like we're in Europe or something. Why wasn't it like that?
I grew up in Quincy, so lived anywhere. Well, now I live in Milton, but I've always lived in Quincy, and coming to Quincy Center, I still, when I walk out this front door holding like a pizza in one hand and a drink in another, and I'm putting it at a table, I'm like, I can't believe people are sitting on Cottage Ave, like, to grow up around here. And it's so much fun to see people are really into it. Like, people like doing it, you know? And I think it's really sweet. Everyone, all the customers, they're like, oh, I love it. It's beautiful. And I just start laughing. I'm like, yeah, well, you know, you can still kind of see the dumpsters off to the side, but it's not really bothering anyone. People are making the best of it.
Oh, I think I love it. I like that it's, you know, I don't like how it happened, but I like the optionality of it. I think it's really nice to be outside.
Oh yeah, honestly, the city's been great. They told me from the beginning, they're like, if this works, like, we can talk about doing it all the time, and it's nice. Most people like to sit outside, you know. I don't know if I love it so much in November, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, I think you guys do a great job, and I would say that after having my samplings of stuff, I mean, I really loved the salmon I had the other day.
Mm-hmm.
But what did Mel and I have? The hamburger pizza.
Oh yeah, the cheeseburger pizza.
The cheeseburger. Yeah, it was pretty
like
good.
A Big Mac on pizza dough. Yeah, it's really good.
But it's you know, for me, I think that people should know that when you go to a restaurant or you know, anywhere, I think that where you're paying money to be a part of something, I like the idea of feeling like you're really treated well. And I think that you and your staff treat people very well, and you put out a nice product.
Oh, thanks. Well, yes, my staff's awesome, but I mean, every one of them, they're so kind to everyone. But we have an unbelievable crew of regulars. Like, we've had the same regulars. That's what makes Quincy Center so cool. We all kind of have the same regulars. Like, any Friday or Saturday night, you kind of see the same people. It doesn't necessarily mean they're coming to 16C. They'll be going to Alba, they'll be going to Fat Cat, they'll be going to the Fours. But we have such a loyal clientele around here. It's awesome, you know?
Yeah.
And now that Pearl and Lime open, because we have the same as Townsend, but since Townsend was so much up the street, we didn't see them as often, the same people walking around, but now you see them because Pearl and Lime's there. So it's fun. It's all the same people.
Yeah, I like, there was just, you know, so you guys were included in it, but it was a Globe article that just came out.
Yeah.
And I like how it's talked about how it's like Restaurant Row now.
Yeah, well, there's so many cool places. That's the thing, you know, I think it's weird. I think sometimes people are like, oh, but like Liberty Tavern just opened, which is another awesome place down the street. They're doing, I'm so happy for them. What a horrifying time to open. So I'm so good, like, happy that they're doing well, because it's nerve-wracking. But a lot of people will say, like, oh, you know, another one coming, like, do you really need another restaurant? Of course. The more restaurants, the better. It's not competition. Like, if you think about going in the North End, the South End, all those places, if you walk into a place and they tell you it's like an hour and a half wait, which obviously this is pre-COVID times and hopefully soon in the future. But, like, you go to another place and you grab a drink, and then you go back to where you were originally going for dinner. That we all help each other out, you know? Nothing's competition. The more places, the better.
Yeah, I always look at like the development of like an area as like the more to do is only it's good for everybody.
Yeah.
Because people want some place that feels alive. And to be honest, you know, it's really hard in these times to, you know, I'm sure restaurateurs are, and I'm an artist and a musician, is no joke. It's a weird, hard time, but geez, I love what you do, and I'm really glad that we're becoming friends, because I think that you're a good person, and it's really nice to have good people in your life. So what is your favorite meal at 16C?
Oh, okay, so two. I would say either the fig and prosciutto pizza or the cheeseburger, like the cheeseburger as is.
Cheeseburger as is. Okay.
Yeah, which I will never eat because, you know, but like on the bread with the French fries, it's delicious.
Oh, okay. Really all right. Well, I always like a good burger.
No, my wife's so good. If I have a bad day, I'll treat myself to it, and everyone laughs at me because I'll go on and on about how good it is, but I try not to eat all that stuff all the time. But yeah, so that or the fig and prosciutto. That's my thing.
Fig and prosciutto is great too.
But the most popular thing on the menu is the steak tips, which is so my dad owned a bar in South Boston called the Quiet Man, which is now
what's it called?
It was called the Quiet Man on Broadway. I think it's Starbucks now, if I'm not mistaken.
It's called the Quiet Man?
Oh yeah, right on Broadway. 11 Broadway.
That's an interesting name.
I like it.
It
is. Honestly, I think it has a meaning. I'm not really sure what it is. I think there was a movie called The Quiet Man or something. But it was a popular place. And were so my father bought into it years. His friends always hung there, and my dad's from Southeast, both my parents, but all of his friends hung there. And then he got hurt. He was a sheet metal worker, and then when he got hurt, he ended up buying into the bar with friends of his, so they were partners. But they ended up selling it in 2007, I believe. No, 2009. But anyway, it was so well known for the steak tips. Everyone loved it. They were awesome steak tips. So my father obviously had the recipe. So I figured when I was opening here, we put it on the menu, kind of like as a cute thing, like a little tribute to my dad. Like he loved it. And when people come in and talk about the Quiet Man, he gets all excited. But they took on a life of their own. Like you literally cannot keep up with the amount of steak tips that go out of that kitchen. And they're similar. They're not exact. My dad had a different grill, and it was old. So I mean, we got him as close as we could. But that's the most popular thing on the menu.
Wow,
but I
that's
guess
cool.
I would never say they're my favorite, only because I feel like I've been eating them forever. But that's probably the most popular thing on here, which I feel bad for my kitchen crew because they're like, "What's up with these steak chips?" But they do it.
We were talking. Wasn't yesterday, the day before, and I was like, "Oh, there's this guy." I couldn't think of his name, but it's Chris Meyer. Do you know him?
Who is it?
Chris Meyer, Mud Meyer.
Meyer. So, no, I'm so bad with names.
He's the guy. I don't know. He's the guy that did all the movie stuff. He's just a friend of mine.
Is he from Quincy?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure I do. I'm wicked bad with names.
Yeah. Well, so I think that as I look at like everything that I've seen with you, and like you're very grateful, you're very hardworking, you have an awesome team. I wish I could name all these people. The actual hold on a second. Oh, I don't like that. I just switched the screen a little bit. They changed how the format is. So I used to be able to see everybody's name at once, which is better because I can see you better. But now they only have one person at a time, and it's Eleanor M88 just joined. But I've seen a few people that I think some of your staff joined in to watch, and some friends.
Oh,
and
good.
Diddy.
So they can all make fun of me later.
No one's gonna make fun of you. Well, I would say that.
She's like patiently waiting. She couldn't wait to tear me apart. So yeah.
Well, I don't think there's much to tear apart. I think there's Kristen. What's up? I think what's to tear apart? You have a big heart. You work.
You'll find something. I'm not worried about that.
All right, fine. I'm gonna start picking. But I just think you work really hard, and you get a really cool thing. Is there something that you're like looking forward to, or like do you have some plans for the future for 16C?
Oh no, I mean I do in the back of my head. I don't want to jinx anything. I have ideas that I'd like to do, but obviously at this point it's like literally one day at a time. And I'm fine with that. Like wake up every day and just get through another day. Still, I mean, for the first couple of years, I would lock up the front door and think to myself, I can't believe that I've pulled this off. But now my wheels are always spinning. I'd like to do something not different. Obviously, I want to do this. Like me and Matt talk about it all the time. Like we have different ideas, but for right now, I'm just getting through one day at a time, and then we'll go from there. Fingers crossed, all this stuff is over soon. But making the best of it while we can.
Yeah, you definitely are. So I didn't get to it, but why was it named 16C? Just for the location?
Yeah, it's the address. Although we did open in 2016, which honestly I don't even think that entered my mind when it all happened. So we opened in 2016, and it's 16 Cottage Ave. So it just kind of worked. We had all different names thrown out there and nothing, so it works.
So it's, what did you say? 4 years it's been.
Mm-hmm. It was 4 years in April.
In 4 years, I think that you are a very colorful, vibrant person. What has happened? What has been one of the biggest memories of running a restaurant in Quincy Center?
All I want to do is write a book. I want to write a book about, not like about me or anything. I just want to write a book about the things that happen in here. Like my whole staff will tell you, like you'll just come in and like something will happen. I'm like, oh, it's just another chapter in the book. Either like what people will say, or like just random things that will happen, like that you see on the street. So I couldn't even. We really started keeping a list of things a long time ago. There's always something interesting, but it's usually something that you just can't believe something comes out of someone's mouth, but you go with it.
What was one of the ones? Like something that you'd be like, I, just how about not even like a thing like that, but more like, what is a highlight for you? I do love that every time that I've been in there, you were walking around.
Oh,
and
that's
I
the
think
highlight. Yeah, no, that's what I love to do. I mean, yeah, I love to bake. I love to bake. It's like therapy for me. I love baking, but I love talking to people. I love getting to know people. Like that's what I really love to do. You know, and that's probably my favorite thing. And like on a Friday, even now, but like even on Friday nights, like Friday, Saturday nights beforehand, like when you look around, it's so cool to see all people who have been here, haven't been here, but then they end up loving everything and they can't wait to come back. And then you get to know all these people by name. Like, it's amazing. If you go through my contacts on my phone, like, a lot of, like, I've met just so many new friends. Like, look at you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I have all these new friends that I just met from here that you never really expected that. Like, who would think at the age of 42, you're meeting all these new friends who become, like, really, like, close friends? Like, I guess that's my favorite part of here, you know?
well,
I think I come in contact with.
I can see that. Melanie and I were sitting and having dinner, and we were listening to the Birch play, and I was watching you hustling around, and at one point I was like, "Is this too much?" Or meaning like, it's a hard time, and I have a lot of restaurateur friends, and what I keep coming back to when I look at people who are successful, is that not only are they putting out a good product, but they're giving themselves. And every time you go in there, I mean, you can't be it to everybody, but I see you giving yourself. And I think that that's why your staff's there. And I love that. And I think that that's where I see other restaurateurs succeeding. They have that factor of not just being, hello, welcome to my place. You're giving yourself.
Oh, well, we first opened, like I said, I waitress forever. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm very lucky. I own the place, whatever. Like, it's crazy to me. Like, people like, oh, you must love owning it. Like, and of course I love owning it. I love what I do, but it's like, it's still, like, you're still working. You know what I mean? Like, and I love working. I'm much more comfortable. I remember the first couple of weeks, and we were, when a new restaurant opens and everyone's there, and it was like crazy town. There was just such a long wait, and I was just so overwhelmed. I was so overwhelmed with everything between the computer system, like the guys from Townsend. You know those guys, right? The guys.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, well, they knew how bad I was, and I was going to have a panic attack. I'll never forget the first night we opened. They were so good with my POS system teaching me because I was having such a panic attack. They sent down one of their guys who sat there literally the first 2 nights that we opened just to help my staff with the computer because I was so overwhelmed with it, as we spoke about me not being computer savvy. And they showed up with a bottle of champagne and a box of tissues at the end of the night because I was just so overwhelmed by everything. But the way that I got myself over how overwhelmed I was I literally threw on an apron, I grabbed a water pitcher, and I just walked around and filled up waters, and no one knew who I was. And I was able to kind of like listen to what people were saying and everything. And I just kind of went right back into like, I'm going to be like a bus girl and try to figure it out. And I would hear people being like, well, where's the owner? And I would just kind of like, I just want to do this. I'm very comfortable with talking to people, listening to people, and not really doing the own thing. It's different. I love waitressing. Does that make sense? So that's
well, I see you doing it. So yeah, you see.
Also talk to a wall, not.
Are you saying on a wall?
No, not at all. Never.
Well, I would say that, I mean, that's a really cool story about restaurant love and not being competitive. For Townsend and Pro Online to send down people to be your friends.
Oh my God! Yeah, we all help each other. Matt from
I love that.
All that. Neil, so it's funny. Jimmy from Fuji. Do you know Jimmy? Have you met Jimmy Liang?
I met him years ago, but I wanted to have an interview with him too. He seems like a great guy.
Oh, he's awesome. Him and I were in the same homeroom at North Quincy High.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And Neil from the Fat Cat, he's a year older than me. I mean, I used to go to Neil's house parties like all through high school. I don't even think me and my girlfriends were ever invited, but we would show up all the time. I've known Neil forever. And then, I've known Leo.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's a small little area right around here. We all know each other.
Oh, that's really cool. I remember when I first moved down here in, 2005, because I'm from New Hampshire. I went to, it was maybe not one at first, but maybe a few years later, Jimmy had his place in North Quincy. That little one. Mm-hmm. That was the first time I started to eat a lot of sushi.
Oh yeah, he's a great kid. I'm so happy for him. He's doing so well. He's such a good kid, and it's nice. I mean, to think that we're in the same homeroom together, and we're now right next door.
That's an interesting angle. Like I mean, look at all this stuff I'm learning about you guys. What have you guys done together?
They do. It's funny. A lot of us, Jimmy. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Jimmy might have won it last year. QCAP, which is it's an organization actually right here on Hancock Street that every year I judge in a bunch of the restaurants. Last year was the Real House, Granite Links, a few. Jimmy did one. Idle Hour did it. Townsend does it every year, and it's almost like an episode of Chopped. So you just go and tons of stuff in a basket. So I end up doing that with most of this whole crew every year. I try to get my kitchen to do it. They won't do it, but I just go and judge with some of the coolest people. So it's kind of fun.
Where do they do that?
Granite Links. I don't know if they've ever done anywhere else, but I think I've done it 3 years in a row, and everyone has been up at Granite Links in the ballroom. It's a lot of fun. Susan Warnick is she's the one who does the announcing and all that stuff. It's a great organization. So we usually all do that together.
Susan Warnick is I've known that's like a big name. You know her for so long.
Oh yeah, she's a hoot. She's super nice too.
Yeah.
Really nice lady. Yeah. That's usually in October, and I'm guessing it's probably not happening this year, which is too bad.
I love the idea you guys all going to high school together. Who would have known that? And you all have very well-known, successful places in Quincy.
Oh, and the funny thing is, my high school teachers, all of them, still come in here. Literally. I think they're all kind of, like I said in the beginning, not a good student. I honestly think back then, and no one really knew, but Mr. Myers put me on work study, which was the best thing that ever happened to me. I've actually talked to a lot of teachers around here about that. I would go, because by the end of the day, I was done. I didn't want to do it. And I wouldn't say I was skipping school. I just had kind of checked out. And Mr. Myers knew it wasn't really for me. And at the time, I was working at O'Brien's Bakery. So I would go to school till noon, and then I would walk down to O'Brien's Bakery in Wollaston, and I would train. And Jim O'Brien taught me how to do everything out back. And that's how I knew I wanted to go to culinary school. And I never so I was working there, but from noon to 3, I didn't get paid. I did it as a work study program. And then 3 o'clock, I would punch in and I would get paid. So I did that all senior year. That was the best thing that ever happened to me, because then I knew that's how I wanted to bake. And I knew school wasn't really, like I said, the studying thing wasn't really for me, And now Quincy High has the best culinary program. It wasn't there when I was in high school, but it's awesome down there now. And they have great people running it. They have you can go into their culinary program, and it teaches you the whole restaurant business, front and back of the house. It's amazing. And those kids now with COVID, I don't know how that works, but the kids, they literally run a restaurant. You can go there for lunch every day of the week. It's so cool.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I love that. It's kind of it's pushing that Voc Tech model early.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, they didn't have when I was there, but but like I said, my high school teachers, they're all in here all the time. So, and I'm sure they go see Jimmy, and I know for a fact that they always go over and see Neil from the Fat Cat. So I think they're all kind of think it's cool that we're all kind of still in the same block.
Well, I've heard a couple things that I really love, and I'm glad that I learned about. I mean, how nice is that to me, Quincy is a sprawling, big kind of place, but yet it's still kind of like a small town.
Oh, it totally is. Yeah, you still know it.
But I wouldn't have thought that.
Really?
Even spending all this time there, that is a really interesting thing that you're having your school teachers come with you, and your classmates have got shops up the street. That's an awesome story to me. I love it.
My best friend owns a salon right down the street. Quincy's everyone knows everybody. So
I do see that, but just this, I thought it was just more who knew where everybody was coming from. I knew there'd be a lot of locals, but this is it just gives this nice small town feel to it. I love it.
I think, and I would say it probably happens everywhere, but obviously I'm very used to Quincy. When anything happens, anything tragic, any family needs help, anything like that, it is amazing to see everyone around here, the way they all come together. Every business, every single person around here, the way they all help each other out, it's nuts. Between a tragedy or like when all the floods and everything down Housnack and Adams Shore, like houses, like when anything like that happens, like as soon as someone, I don't know, have you met Jeff Sullivan yet? He runs Quincy is Everything. Like he puts that on Quincy is Everything, and before you know it, like it's every business owner, like everyone that in this community, like everyone's trying, like where do I donate? How do I donate? What do I do? And I think that says a lot about Quincy. You know, like everyone's just here to help each other out, no matter what. You know, no matter what anyone needs, they all jump in. It's nice.
I love that. Well,
and it also worked out for us. Like people jumped in same way for us. Like once all of a sudden, restaurants you can only do takeout. Like the amount of takeout that we were doing, like people were so supportive. Like it's so nice that everyone just wants to help each other out. It's sweet.
Well, you're definitely doing your part, and it's cool to see how everybody's pieced together. And I love your spot, and I'm really thankful that you took the time to talk to me, even though you were like, I don't feel like doing this. But you know what? To be honest, maybe it is your thing. I think you did a great job, and I think that it's nice for me to learn more about you and what you're up to, because I respect what you're doing there, and I think that just getting a little more love for 16C.
Thank you for everything.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Kerri Lynch-Delaney. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Will I see you tonight?
No, not tonight. I can't make tonight. So just be Sister D. And then just as long as she's in that,
I'm on it. X marks the spot. X marks the spot. We know where she's
X marks the spot. But she's a super nice person. She'll just give it's going to be a completely different feel than all the other weeks.
Dude, I can't wait. It'll be fun.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She looks awesome. I can't wait. If you talk to her though, make sure she knows to wear something warm because it gets windy.
She's been playing outside and stuff, so she'll know that.
All right.
But I look forward to seeing you soon, and thank you for all you do for your community and being a part of my community and being awesome. Thank you. Quad thanks you.
All right. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. See you.
All right. Bye-bye.